I have 5 favorite YA books from last year, and they all have wrap-ups, so those will be linked down below along with the timestamps in the description, so check them out if you want to hear my full thoughts. So the first book I read in April, but it's actually 3 books. I know I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but that's because it's a trilogy. And that's the Shadow and Bone trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and this is fantasy. And I know this is a very unpopular opinion because most people don't really like this series, and they really like Six of Crows. However, I'm the total opposite. I'm used to that. It's fine. Whatever. I had a lot of fun with this, okay? I don't know what to tell you. So in this, we follow an orphaned young lady named Alina. And she is a soldier who doesn't know whether she's going to survive her first trek across the Shadowfold. And the Shadowfold is a swath of darkness that is crawling with monsters. Here in the map you can see it's called the Unsea. So basically it's just an area on land that is fully in darkness and just crawling with monsters. I mean, can you think of anything more terrifying than being in pitch black and knowing that monsters are after you and you can't see them? That legitimately sounds terrifying. And when she is going through this Shadowfold, her crew gets attacked, and she ends up unleashing some kind of power that she didn't even realize she had. And so she starts training with the Grisha, who are a magical military elite. And they have different factions, I guess, or categories under that. And they all have different powers depending on which category they're under. And she ends up falling under the spell of their leader, the Darkling. And he believes that she can use her power to totally get rid of the Shadowfold. But really, she can only do this if she can master her untamed gift. And as the threats to the kingdom increases, Alina must unlock the secrets to her past. And she ends up making a dangerous discovery that can threaten the lives of those she loves and everything in the nation. And in Siege and Storm, we continue on with Alina's story. Her power has grown, but not without coming at a price. She is hunted and haunted, but she won't be able to outrun her enemies for long. And now the Darkling is really trying to get her to use her power. So Alina is desperate, and she enlists the help from somebody in particular, and she sets out to lead the Grisha army. But as the truth of her destiny unfolds, she slips deeper into the Darkling's deadly game of forbidden magic, and ends up going further and further away from her humanity. So now she has to choose between the power and the love that she thought would always be her shelter. But as they say, no victory comes without a price. And in the third one, Ruin and Rising, Alina is really struggling. The Darkling has become a greater adversary, and Alina is trying to recover from that. But she still has hope, and that lies within a long-vanished magical creature. Now her allies and enemies are racing towards war, so now Alina stands between her country and the rising tides of darkness. And this is the type of darkness that can destroy the world. So to win this fight, she must seize this legend's power. But doing so may be her ruin. So as you can see, I tabbed quite a bit. I matched the covers. We got the blue one, the green, and the orange. And I thought this was a fun adventure story. There's a lot of traveling going on and going on hunts for magical, powerful creatures. And then you have the terrifying aspect of the Unsea or the Shadowfold. And then she has this adversary slash leader, the Darkling. It's somebody she has to work alongside, but he's also very dangerous. Apparently this was made into a show. I have not seen any of those because I don't have TV. Sometimes I watch adaptations on Amazon Prime, or sometimes I can find them on YouTube. I have not seen the adaptation for this. I hate when they put the little stickers on there too, by the way. Well, it's not even a real sticker. You can't even take it off. But I think if you're looking for a fun adventure with a main character who has to battle between the good and evil within herself, I do recommend this. So technically this would be the fourth book, and I read this in July, and that's Monsters Born and Made by Tanvi Berwah. And that creature on the front is called a maristag, and basically like a stag or a deer-like creature that also lives in the ocean. This is a beautiful edition as well. This is the naked hardcover and the back. And that's just the normal edition, that's the first edition. This is plain, but it is a beautiful color. I just got this author's second book, Somewhere in the Deep, so that will be in an upcoming haul. That one looks really good. It's set in caves on their island. I can't wait to read it. So in this book, we follow Coral, who is 16 years old, and her younger brother, Emmerich, and they hunt these maristags in the Black Sea surrounding their island. And they have to because that's how their family will survive. Because the elite have indentured them into hunting these maristags for what they call the glory race. And that is a deadly chariot tournament just for the upper class. And the winner receives the gold and glory, and the losers, well, they may survive. But then one year, Coral is unable to capture one of these maristags, and so she's not going to get money for it. But she desperately needs it because she has a younger sister as well who is chronically ill and desperately needs money for medicine. So Coral has the idea to cheat and sneak her way into the race to have her chance at winning the gold. But this is really risky, not only because it's risky in and of itself, but she is racing up against contenders who have been training for this their whole lives. And they have no intentions on letting her win. There are riots that break out, and then she ends up having to do more than just win the race. This is an action-packed, South Asian-inspired fantasy. It's the rallying cry against oppression and a riveting tale of one girl's desperation to survive against all odds. This very much reminded me of the Hunger Games. Not exactly in the same way, but you have the upper elite who have these games that are put on for their entertainment, and people can die during these. And then you have the lower class who is indentured and really struggles. And then you have the female main character who is the underdog, the person who is going up against all odds. This was really entertaining. I was constantly turning the pages, wanting to find out what happened next. I would say if you like South Asian inspired island setting, you have these creatures. Oh, and another thing about the tournament, I remember specifically, there's one part in it where they're going through a labyrinth, but the labyrinth itself moves. Like the walls move and like things happen. It was so intense. This would make a good movie. I can't wait to read her next book. It also involves some really creepy creatures and in a cave. Oh, it sounds so claustrophobic. Actually, I kind of peeked a little bit at the first chapter, and yeah, I gotta read that soon. Oh yeah, quick update about that little taste test I did of Somewhere in the Deep. Yeah, that night I had a nightmare about that creature, so I would say that's a success. Nobody ever talks about this book. I don't think I've seen anybody read or review this. She seems to be very underrated, so I highly recommend this if you're looking for a YA fantasy. And the fifth book I read in August, and I swear this book should be required reading in school. Yes, it's YA, but I think anybody at any age could really get a lot from this book. And that is Full Tilt by Neal Shusterman. This is a fast-paced read. It is about a creepy, bizarre carnival. So in this, we follow two young brothers, and they couldn't be more opposite. Blake, the older one, is responsible, and Quinn, his younger brother, is a thrill seeker. And Blake ends up chasing Quinn into this bizarre phantom carnival that ends up keeping its customers forever if you can't get out. So to escape, they must ride and survive 7 deadly rides before dawn. But each of the rides represents a deep personal fear, so even though people are on the same ride, they're having different experiences. There's a carousel of stampeding animals, and then there's a hall of mirror that changes people into the deformed reflections of themselves. And if they can't get out of that in their head, they remain like that. And ultimately, Blake has to face this really dark secret from his past in order to save himself and his brother. But while he's figuring this out, he's still trying to survive the carnival. It's surreal, it's suspenseful, it's scary, it's thrilling, it's eerie. Eerie, one of my favorite words. It's like a quest adventure, but in a different way. This book is just over 200 pages. I read it so fast. I mean, I probably read it in 1 or 2 days. I think this would make a great movie as well, with all the creepy rides. Like, could you imagine? It's not just a normal roller coaster ride or teacups or anything like that. It's individualized, personalized fears, insecurities, regrets. It really delves into deep, dark topics in a creative way. And if you're looking for a fast-paced read that is thought-provoking as well, highly recommend Full Tilt. So here are my 5 favorite YA books from last year. And if you made it this far and would like to let me know with an emoji, go ahead and leave a Ferris wheel or roller coaster, something related to a carnival. And if you've missed any of my other videos like this where I go over my favorite books of last year, so far I've done my favorite horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and thriller. I'll link the playlist down below in the description and pinned comment, and I'll pop it right here. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next one.